Bhairava Kalike Namostute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Jai Mahakali. So welcome back on yet another video based on popular demand, because I've noticed that any comment, any video that I've put so far, every time there is a comment asking for a video on BATUKA BHAIRAVA or BATUKA BHAIRAVA, and generally I've been avoiding it because unlike the most of the avatars of Mahavishnu, about the avatars of Shiva, you will not have 1,000-page books on each of the forms that he has taken, be it Batuka or be it Kalabhairava or Ananda Bhairava or any of the types of Bhairava. So generally any information that you find is based on projections that he makes onto the minds of the Sadhakas itself. It is not like there are big leelas and stories and all that about what he has done. So any sadhaka who has spent considerable amount of time on his mantras and they have successfully switched off from the mantras and gone into proper meditation on any of the Bhairava rupams, then yes, that is when they begin to get these knowledge bites from Bhairava himself. To that effect, I will show you something. So this is called the Kartika. In the Buddhist Tantra Marg, this Kartika has a very significant role to play. So this is a very important instrument in Bhairava Sadhana itself. This particular piece is it's actually 3 or 4 times older than me, and it's quite ancient. So if you in between this video, kindly just Google and search an image of Mahakala from Tibetan. This one, he will hold this Kartika over a skull like this. What it essentially means is, it is Mahakala that sort of opens up the top of your skull and dumps all the knowledge, enlightenment into your skull. So that is the representation of Mahakala holding this over a skull. That is what it means. So that is what it means. So that representation of Mahakala is also how you get various informations on Bhairava itself, because he is the one who will put it into your head also, and that is how you get to learn the leelas and all the divine functions of how Bhairava has emanated and how he has spread his knowledge and all that. He gives it directly because he is the procedural collapse. The moment he comes out of Shiva's third eye, that is a moment when all procedures have collapsed, because that is not how generally an avatara taking shape goes through a vast planning. What is the reason for an avatara to come? Is there a justifiable reason why an avatara of any deity should come and project a specific incident, or project or live as a specific king, or live as a specific child? What is there a message that he has to give to the humanity at large in the Mrityu Loka? All this is very important, but Bhairava did not come like that. Shiva just literally compartmentalizes his Vairagi Guru Tattva, not just Guru Tattva, it's Vairagi Guru Tattva, and just bursts out. So at that moment, almost everything to know about Bhairava starts in that moment. So Brahma with his white beard, white hair and all is considered as a very aged deity, the creator god itself. Whereas Bhairava, when he emanates out of Shiva's third eye, he is considered as a child, not because he is young. The Guru Tattva, Vairagi Guru Tattva within Shiva is much more ancient than Brahma himself. However, when Bhairava emanates out of the third eye, he is considered as a new, a rather fresh emanation of a deity. That is how it is considered. Brahma is definitely older physically than that specific avatara of Bhairava, that specific form of Bhairava. And to Brahma's eyes, what he sees is actually a young deity who he is not able to make much sense of. He just sees a young boy. He is represented as a young boy because the deity itself is young. Mahavishnu is much more ancient. Adishakti is much more ancient than Bhairava at that moment. But he has come for a specific purpose, and his first purpose itself was to remove Brahma's fifth head, which was the only head that was losing track of reality. It was no longer able to understand its own purpose and what it was meant to do on earth. So in the universe. So this specific branch of knowledge that Brahma was supposed to incur from Bhairava, Shiva just emanates him onto a very young form. That first form is actually not an aged tapasvi Bhairava. It is actually a young, angry, young man sort of a form of Bhairava. And in reality, it is that form itself that is the first initial form of Kalabhairava. And initial form of Bhairava as a young man is Batuka Bhairava. So the one that actually emanates becomes the formation of the Vairagi Guru Tattva of Shiva. The one that actually removes the fifth head of Brahma is Kalabhairava. However, he was actually a Batuka. He is actually a young deity. He has come there to do his purpose and he gets his purpose done beautifully. However, he is a young deity. That is why he is called Batuka. It is not that he has a Bala Swarup. He is Bala Swarup because the age of the deity is young. Not because he's just born out of a mother's womb, he is crawling on all fours like Sri Krishna or even the Bala Swarup of Sri Rama, not like that. He did not go through the regular childhood. It was an astral formation that Shiva made. When he lets that Vairagi Guru Tattva sprout out of his third eye, he actually creates an astral form of a full-fledged deity. However, even for deities, even if it is from Shiva Tattva itself, even if it is Shiva itself, they have to go through the circle of attaining the status of a guru. So, Batuka Bhairava, he is none other than Kalabhairava. The two most important forms of Bhairava is, in my opinion, Batuka Bhairava and Kalabhairava. Both are the same. However, the difference is, after Brahma's fifth head was decapitated, removal of the ego, and Brahma becomes a student of Bhairava, Bhairava then at the Adesh of Shiva, who is none other than Shiva himself, but at the Adesh of Shiva himself, Bhairava then holds Brahma's Brahma Kapala and he goes begging as a penance all over the Devaloka and entire multi-universes. He goes begging. Now, what this actually means is that he is actually undertaking a penance, a tapasya of sorts, in order to gain eligibility, in order to learn the ways of the universe. This Vairagi Guru Tattva is now going through the maturity phase. The young deity that sprouts out of Shiva's third eye is actually Batuka. Batuka is none other than Kalabhairava's younger version. Young in the sense that 12 years of penance that Batuka does with Bhairava, Brahma's Kapala in hand is actually him going through the tapasya phase. Before he himself considers himself to be eligible to take the form of a guru, he goes through 12 years of penance. And 12 years is generally considered as the period required for somebody to mature into the proper tapasvi. 12 years is not human 12 years, it is astral 12 years. So it could be 12 lakh years. Something like that is what Bhairava does. So Batuka and Kalabhairava are one and the same. The difference is that Batuka is the epitome of procedural collapse. That moment he sprouts out and gets his work done, every single procedure has collapsed because you do not directly go and give a lesson to the creator god Brahma. But Bhairava did it at the Adesh of Shiva himself. And after that he comes back to procedure. He says that for the Brahma Hatya I will do the penance wherein I will also gain eligibility and become a guru in this path. And then he does a tapasya. Post that tapasya, when his Brahma Kapala falls, above Kasi, and when Shiva is pleased with his penance, he then says, now you have the blessing, you sit down there and become the Adhinata of Kashi. When he does that, that is when he earns the proper title of Kalabhairava. So until then, that tapasya is where he earns the title of Kalabhairava. Until then, he was Bhairava. Bhairava in the young form, none other than Batuka Bhairava. The actual form that emanates out of Brahma, there are sampradayas, one of a very senior sadhaka who I consider as my mentor. He is no longer around. His sampradaya believed that Batuka did not directly emanate out of Shiva's third eye and straight away run towards Brahma and destroy his fifth head. They believe that Batuka then, after sprouting out, he walks to Brahma, cries like a small child. Brahma has a proper dialogue with this boy where he gives him a few of his names. Few of the names that Bhairava carries was given by Brahma himself. And as Brahma keeps on having a conversation, Bhairava keeps on growing. The small child Bhairava, Bala Bhairava, then becomes Batuka Bhairava, who's a young man. And then he, out of rage, he lets out a war cry and decapitates Brahma. So there is a proper dialogue some sampradayas believe in between Brahma and Bhairava himself. And that first Bhairava, it's considered as Kalabhairava only, but he has not yet gained the title of Kalabhairava. The title of Kalabhairava comes only after the tapasya of 12 years, where he goes with the begging bowl. Now you tell me, let's say that you have decided to go on a life-changing experience. You are now, you take a bowl, let's say a copper bowl from your house, and you decide that you're going to do a penance. You're going to get rid of all worldly pleasures, and you simply start walking. From the moment you leave your house, you simply start walking. Every meal is begged. You only have one piece of cloth you're wearing and you walked out. At the end of 12 years, 12 human years, how will you be? The level of vairagya that would have set in. You are not interested in sleeping in an AC. You don't require a roof. You sleep under a tree if you want. When there is rain, you will take shelter under a tea shop. You'll keep on walking. You'll walk through highways. You'll sleep in the forest. You'll sleep under a bus stop. You'll sleep outside a college. Somebody gives you food, you'll eat. What sort of a mind change will go through inside you? That is exactly what happens from the young Bhairava that emanates and decapitates Brahma. The young deity is much younger than Brahma. To Brahma, he's a Batuka. A child is what he sees, because Brahma is very old. Brahma is with white beard, white hair. He's the most aged deity on the Mrithyaloka, who has control over the Mrithyaloka. He's the most aged. He's a wise creator god. Then he sees this child only in the form of Bhairava. So that is Batuka Bhairava. And then he goes through the begging, which you have to imagine yourself doing it. How much of a change will happen at the end of the 12-year penance, which is not human 12 years. It is astral 12 years. So it could be 12 lakh years. It could be 12 cycles of the universe. It could be anything of that sort. How much of a change will you go through if you had done this for 12 years? And imagine that much of change has gone into Batuka, the child form, the newly emanated, the newborn form of Bhairava that emanates out of Shiva. And then he sits down in Kashi as the Vairagi Guru. Then only the other forms come out. So that first Bhairava sits as Kalabhairava. So before he goes through the process of the 12-year penance, he is none other than he is a young form of Bhairava, new. That is Batuka. So Batuka and Kalabhairava are the most important two factors of Bhairava universe itself. Only difference is that Batuka has not yet done the tapasya. He is just the Guru Tattva, Vairagi Guru Tattva, the initial spark. Just like you, before you began your sadhana of 12 years, you walk on the streets and beg. How will you be? Before that, that is Batuka. That is why he is considered as worthy for somebody who is completely into the material circles. That is why Grihasthas also are able to do it, because he is not yet gone through the Vairagi penance. That is why Batuka is the most relevant form of Bhairava for Upasana, because Batuka accepts everything. This is also why, the Apadudharaka mantra that you all are picking out of the internet and chanting, it is still effective. Why it is effective is because the moment he sprouts out and destroys Brahma itself, at that moment, but the Bhairava is actually collapsing the entire niyamas of Devaloka, the entire niyamas of the astral world is collapsed at that second. That is why, even without a Diksha, if you do the Bija mantras of Batuka also, it is effective. Because Batuka, that form is not as per the niyamas. It is a Vairagi Guru Tattva that simply sprouts out, does the first thing that he does is Brahma Hatya. So all the Bija mantras, Moola mantras, everything of Batuka Bhairava alone is effective. If somebody says it is not, you please try it. It will completely change you. By a year or two, it will completely change you. There will be no negative effects because Batuka is meant for guiding of new sadhakas. He is procedural collapse encapsulated completely. Batuka, then the child, that is the new Bhairava, the new deity that has now come onto the astral world, then goes through the penance process for 12 astral years. And then he sits down, gets the eligibility to sit down in Kashi. That is Kalabhairava. So Kalabhairava, that is why you need to go through the procedures. Which is why we say, put in lot of effort in Batuka Bhairava, gain the eligibility, do what Bhairava did. That is exactly what is the meaning of why you should go to Batuka before you go to Kalabhairava, because Kalabhairava went through the process. 12 astral year penance was completed by him, and that is when he learned. See, Batuka Bhairava does his first, the young Bhairava's first act itself was Brahma Hatya, the greatest crime, greatest sin that is considered in our world, universe. He does that, and that is how he begins his, the deity takes form itself in Brahma Hatya itself. That is why any procedures that you think that if somebody tells you have to follow this procedure, otherwise you will not attain Batuka Bhairava, no, absolutely not. Batuka Bhairava is the only form of Bhairava who is again, who's beyond procedures. Any procedures, you follow rituals. Follow rituals because it is for your own satisfaction, you follow rituals. But understand that for Batuka Bhairava, even if you do pick out a Bija mantra, it will actually work. So be very pious when you get into Batuka Bhairava Upasana. Don't think that just because you don't have Diksha, the Bija mantra of Batuka Bhairava will not have impact. It has impact. There are great sadhakas at 80s and 90s who don't even know what YouTube is. From them, I have spoken and understood all this. I spent so much time with them. They are the ones who have said this. So please understand that if somebody is trying to tell you that Batuka Bhairava cannot be propitiated without a Diksha, no, he is the only form who can be, because he is Kalabhairava. He is Kalabhairava before the penance. So Bhairava has two major phases before the penance, before 12-year penance. Batuka, the child form, the new Bhairava. It's not a baby Bhairava, it is new Bhairava. Bhairava is newly emanated, just come out, fresh. Then Shiva tells him, you started your journey as a Vairagi Guru Tattva, you started with Brahma Hatya. Now you have to show the entire world, you have to become the Guru, because Brahma itself is not apparently aware of how to live, how to move towards enlightenment. So that is your purpose now. Now you will walk through the entire universe, entire Devaloka with a begging bowl and learn all the procedures and niyamas. So the young Bhairava then walks around with the Kapala, Brahma Kapala for 12 years, 12 astral years, not human years, finally sitting down in Kashi. So the one who sits down in Kashi is the full form of Kalabhairava after he has gone through the entire path. Imagine you had begged for, the first example, if imagine you had begged for 12 years on the streets, how much of change you will go through? Will you be the same person? No. So this Bhairava, Batuka, he will come even if you are not following any of the procedures, he will still come. If you are without any guru, you pick up a mantra and start doing, you do Om Batuka Bhairavaya Nama, Om Batuka Bhairavaya Nama, Om Batuka Bhairavaya Nama. You do this also, he will come, because he is beyond procedures. However, when you move to the Kalabhairava, which is why we say go by procedures, do the rituals, do everything painstakingly, boringly, become so boring that you bore yourself, but do it. When you go to Batuka Bhairava, do everything as per procedure, because Batuka went through the procedures and comes to Kalabhairava. Batuka went through the penance, he did the tapasya, he begged, he did, I have done a sin, I am so powerful that nobody can question me. Nobody is there to question me. I have removed the fifth head of Brahma himself, but nobody is there to question me. However, I have been tasked by Mahadeva to be the Vairagi Guru Tattva. Because of that, now I take the penance, and he goes. So the same Bhairava then becomes the aged, very Vairagi, extremely strict Kalabhairava. It is the same. So why can grihasthas, why can college students, why can new men and women who have not yet got married, who are still in the materialistic path, go to Batuka Bhairava? This is the reason, because his procedural collapse. He doesn't require procedures as per you. He doesn't say that you should be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strictly only, then I'll come. He is not at all like that. He is the first form of Bhairava that will come to you. The moment you start even saying Om Bhairavaya Namaha, he is the first form that will come because he is the first. People think that it is on a later time when Kalabhairava, for specific reasons, takes the form of a child. He may or may not have, but the Bhairava that emanates with the entire Guru, Vairagi Guru Tattva within Shiva was actually the young Bhairava. Young Bhairava is Batuka Bhairava. So never think that Batuka Bhairava is one. People continuously, anytime I've told people to actually get into Batuka Bhairava, they are like, I don't want the child Swarup, I want the big full deal. Please understand, the full deal is Kalabhairava, agreed, and Kalabhairava is Batuka Bhairava. And Kalabhairava is very difficult because there is a 12-year penance, which is why in my own journey there is almost a decade spent on Batuka Bhairava before graduating on Kalabhairava, and that is the greatest graduation because Batuka himself will bless you for that. Your movement from Batuka Bhairava to Kalabhairava has to be signed off by Batuka. Because before he became the entire summation of Bhairava Tattva itself and sits down in Kashi as Kalabhairava, he went through the 12-year penance. So you're going to tell him and say that I will do one mandala of you and I want directly go to Kashi. Do you think for a second, do you think that will be effective? It will not. Number one, it is disrespectful for the young Bhairava himself. Bhairava also has a childhood, but not like Sri Rama or Sri Krishna. Walking around like a baby, 5-year-old child, none of that. Bhairava was born with the greatest Vairagi Guru Tattva as a young Bhairava whose first task that he gave, first dharmakari that he undertook is removal of the 5th head of Brahma. So before Tapasya, Batuka, young Bhairava. After Tapasya, Kalabhairava. With complete knowledge, complete procedures done, he sits down unmoving. That is the greatest form of Bhairava. Do not rush into Kalabhairava because he himself has given the message that as a newly emanated young deity, he did his dharmakari, that is, he was given the task of teaching Brahma a lesson. He gave the lesson and took Brahma as a Shishya. After that, he did the penance. So, first, that is why you start with Batuka, whether you are unmarried, whether you are just getting into a job, you have a lot of materialistic goals, you are still looking for a partner, you're planning for kids. Any of this is accepted in the path of Batuka Bhairava. He can also be called by asattvic means, he can also be called by a non-sattvic means, he can be called by, he can be offered alcohol, he is offered milk, he is offered jaggery, he is offered everything. That is why Batuka Bhairava is the first, young Bhairava is the first form. And he is not separate from Kalabhairava, they are the same. He becomes and attains the eligibility of Kal. He becomes the master of time after he does the penance and sits down as Bhairava, Kalabhairava. Before that, he was a young Bhairava who's like a college student who just came out, did his job, and he's like, okay, Vairagi Guru Tattva was compartmentalized and projected by Mahadeva. Now what am I supposed to do? Now you become the biggest Guru. For the Kali Yuga, you have to become the biggest Guru. Now you go. Do the penance, and Mahadeva sends him. He goes everywhere. He goes to Mahavishnu everywhere with the begging bowl, and they all say, "Arey, we know who you are. Why are you doing this? What is this Maya? Why do you do this drama?" That is what Mahavishnu tells him. He says, "No, Mahadeva has said that I should do this. I will do this. I am supposed to do this." Why? Because Mahadeva has already planned that he is now giving the greatest Guru Tattva to the humanity in Kali Yuga. When the Kapala falls, he sits down, he has the entire 12 astral years, not 12 human years, 12 astral years worth of tapasya has been done, and he sits down as the greatest Guru Tattva Kali Yuga will see. He was there throughout, but now he becomes a pedestal on which you will bring Shakti. You will also find that even for Batuka Bhairava also you will be able to use his grace and bring out various forms of Shakti, especially for people who are newly entering into Bhairava Sadhana. Please begin with Batuka Bhairava. There is an actual reason, because that is the procedure. He is the only one who will accept any mistake you make. He will forgive. Batuka will forgive. Batuka is not a child form of Kalabhairava. He is Kalabhairava before he became Kalabhairava. It's plain and simple. Any time Shiva Mahadeva has taken a form of a child, it is actually Batuka. He takes the form of Kalabhairava as a child. Not that Kalabhairava becomes a child. No. In order for weaker upasaks to digest him, no. He was already Batuka. He goes through the penance, then becomes Kalabhairava. Understand this key difference. Continuously I have been getting text from people who think that Batuka Bhairava is an inferior form of Kalabhairava. No, it is Bhairava. It is a core Bhairava form. It is the one that Shiva sprouts out. After that, he goes through the penance and becomes Kalabhairava with the complete eligibility of being the Vairagi Guru Tattva, because he now has also done the tapasya. So, some of the tips that I would give you for Batuka Bhairava Upasakas is that any mantra you pick out of Batuka Bhairava, please understand, with or without Guru, it will be effective. It is Kalabhairava Upasana without spending considerable amount of time on Batuka Bhairava Upasana. Without Diksha, Kalabhairava Upasana will not bear as much fruit. It will be very slow. So that is why we say establish Batuka Bhairava into you. Then you graduate to Kalabhairava. This is the way to do it. If you are without a guru, start with Batuka Bhairava, then move to Kalabhairava. Then you are actually having more impact than getting a Diksha from a guru directly to Kalabhairava, which is not the procedure. Because Kalabhairava has two phases. Not phase, PH. It is just that in between there is Tapasya. Before Tapasya, young Bhairava, Batuka. After Tapasya, the matured, all-knowing, all-learned, Tapasvi Kalabhairava. Please understand this difference. Do not think this is inferior. This is where you go before you have set your life. If your life is not set, you are not yet married, you don't know where is your career, you are a young child, you are in college, anything. Batuka is the one. And he will also beautifully mature your life. Your life will move so well, everything will fall in place. You'll get the right partner, you'll get the right job, you'll be able to keep your life going. Materialism will come slightly above your karmic restriction, it will come. Slightly above he'll always keep you well. And you will find Vairagya setting in slowly as you mature, and then finally Batuka disappears and full-fledged Kalabhairava. Gain this eligibility. Do not think that Kalabhairava is glamorous. He is the one with all the Shaktis, surrounded by Mahavidyas. Because of that, I want only Kalabhairava. I will not go to Batuka. Please understand, Kalabhairava is Batuka. Before his tapasya, he is Batuka. So he wants you also to go through this process, because this is not easy. There is no other comparable deity like Kalabhairava. It is that much of core Vairagya Tattva that is within Kalabhairava with so much knowledge. I showed you the Kartika. He just cuts open your head and starts dumping knowledge onto your head. Enlightenment. He is a guru of enlightenment. He is the guru of Moksha Path. He will make you a living, breathing Amsa of Kashi. So don't hurry into Kalabhairava. Go through Batuka Bhairava. Batuka Bhairava should be considered as beyond rules. That is his main thing. He is disaster relief in the sadhaka's life at all points of your life. Bad marriage, searching for a wife, searching for a husband, searching for a brother, want help, going through crap, promotion. You can ask anything to Batuka Bhairava because he is before the procedure set in. This is the beauty of Batuka Bhairava. You think that he's just a child form, like why do you pray to Bala Krishna as opposed to the Krishna standing in the Mahabharata Bhumi? There is a difference, we say. Okay. Batuka is not like that. Batuka and Kalabhairava are not like that. Batuka is him being projected with pure Guru Tattva. Vairagi Guru Tattva is the only one, and he will not ask for procedures because he's come to destroy the procedure. The one who set the procedures, that is Brahma, the one who created the Mrityu Loka, is being destroyed by this deity. So any of the problems that you face in the Mrityu Loka, who will help? Think for a second. Any problems in the Mrityu Loka that you face, that was also created by Brahma Deva only, that problem also is the fastest relief he will only give, because he is the one who came to give relief to Brahma also. Please understand why Batuka is the most important form of Bhairava that you should pray to before even thinking of starting a sadhana of Kalabhairava. If you put the base of Batuka Bhairava for 3 years, go through the rituals, do everything, become so boring, but go with devotion. He will adjust your life in such a way that some of you have mailed me saying that I'm about to get married, I have material goals, but I want to get into Bhairava sadhana. How? Batuka. He will adjust your life so well that your wife is also attuned to it, your husband is also attuned to the life. Slowly he will turn you into such a Vairagi Tattva that all materialism will still continue. I am the living, breathing example of this. That you cannot say that I do not have any, be it a car, be it a bungalow, or be it dogs, be it career. You cannot say I don't have any of this. I have all of it because Batuka is the one who took me through the tapasya before he finally makes me one with Kalabhairava. Then comes Shakti. Seed Shakti. So this is the path. So many people, they want to directly jump to Kalabhairava. They might, and they do not understand. I don't associate with Batuka Bhairava. I like the manliness of Kalabhairava. Arey, you need to understand. Batuka is Kalabhairava. Before the tapasya, you are also beginning, right? You also go through him. He will literally hold you by the little finger and carry you. He is the elder brother, and I tell you what, at the speed at which he came out of Shiva's third eye and decapitated Brahma, at the same speed he is the one who will come running. There is less chance that you can find an equally responsive form of deity across our Devaloka. Very less chance, because he was tasked with this. Mahadeva, when he in his deepest forms of meditation, he conjures of conjures a specific deity and he throws it out. What all he has put into the deity is the Guru Tattva, Vairagi Guru Tattva, and procedural collapse, where even if a bhakta who's just done 48 days of penance for Batuka, if he calls also, he will actually come. He will actually come and hold you. Because that is what Mahadeva has put into this specific deity. The young Bhairava is the fastest to respond. The young Bhairava, Batuka, don't think it's a baby Bhairava. It's young Bhairava, the Bhairava that is now meant to go through the worldly affairs, learn the worldly affairs, understand what it is, and then he drops the Kapala. By that time, he's become so Vairagi, so dangerously Vairagi, that he is not to be approached directly. Kalabhairava you can pray to, but don't get into his sadhana if you want effective sadhana before you attained Batuka within you. He's the elder brother. He is not to be taken as a Bala Rupa. He's the elder brother. He is full Bhairava, but doesn't look at the rules. Because why did he come? Kyun aaye the wo? To destroy the creator. The young Bhairavas mean young Kalabhairava. That is what Batuka Bhairava should be correctly called, young Kalabhairava. Before the tapasya. Who is Batuka Bhairava? He is a young Kalabhairava before the tapasya, before gaining the control of time. Once he does the tapasya, once he does his time, 12 astral years, he then he's given the title of Kalabhairava. He now is the supreme commander of time itself, because he's done the time. All these nitty-gritties, please understand, the logic is all there. Bhairava is the most communicative guru and also the most communicative deity. You need to let him talk. Let him talk. You don't go completely in search of knowledge on YouTube and all that. Listen to 1 or 2 branches of knowledge. Everything will come to you. Calm down. Go to Batuka. Can you pick out a mantra of Batuka and start chanting? He is the only form of Bhairava who will 100% respond. He will not care about your Guru, Sampradaya. Batuka is the one who will come. Why? Because that is what Shiva gave him. The job that was put on Batuka as he emanates out of Shiva's third eye, that job itself was to Apadudharakam. His job itself was disaster relief. Brahma's fifth head talking by itself and saying that I am the greatest and that was big disaster coming on the universe. That is why Bhairava came out, and he was young Bhairava, young Kalabhairava. Before he got the title of Kalabhairava, he was Bhairava. And who is young Bhairava? That's Batuka. So why should, so if you say there are our Ashta Bhairas are all there, there are 64 forms of Bhairava and all we talk about, but the core form is Kalabhairava, who is the Mahakala Bhairava, is a head. But please understand, Mahakala Bhairava, before he gets the title of Mahakala, he is Batuka, he is young Bhairava. After penance only he gets that title. So can you pick out any mantra and start doing of Batuka Bhairava? Yes, it will actually work. It will actually work, because that is Shiva's Adesh to Bhairava. Shiva's Adesh is that the one who created this universe seems to be a little lost. So you break the procedures and enter that place. It is an order. Bhairava is under the order of Mahadeva to understand that whenever there is procedural collapse happening in whatever Brahma has created, you go and you enter into it and decimate that place. That is why Batuka Bhairava is effective even if there is nobody to guide you, because he will come guiding. He is so powerful you cannot even envision, because in my own life there have been times when he would, I'm going through such terrible times, and he would say, I put his signature on certain things. I have only done this for you, do you know that? That is why I call him elder brother. You will not find that anywhere else. I don't think people have yet started visualizing him as an elder brother, but it is my pro tip to you to envision and call upon Batuka Bhairava as an elder brother, because he is before tapasya. He is a little, sorry to use this word, but he is a little cool. He's cool actually. He comes, he has been ordered. This is the main thing. He has been ordered by Mahadeva to enter and destroy the creator god of this universe, because he is going out of track. So anyway, anytime you feel life is going out of track, you can call him. You can also call him in means or ways which are out of track. What is out of track? Without Diksha, you're running around and simply picked out a mantra of Batuka Bhairava from the internet. Will it work? Yes, it will work. Batuka Bhairava mantra will work, and you know what he will do? He will give you Diksha towards Kalabhairava and put you through the 12-year penance, and you will finally, while incurring all your materialistic, the karmically whatever you are meant to achieve, you will completely achieve it, and finally you will go to the state of Kalabhairava. If you are very, very tapasvi, it will happen in 12 years. If you are not very tapasvi, you're more of materialistic, it might happen next life, but your life, you will not be incurring unnecessary karma. He will take care of that. And he is the one who will not care about procedure, because Adesh is from Mahadeva. If this creator god is so lost, I'm worried about the entire universe. So, young Bhairava, I will compartmentalize and create a deity out of me who will not care about procedures and all. He will just go and start destroying whenever whoever is meant to keep dharma is not doing it. Whoever is meant to give enlightenment is not doing it. That is why Batuka Bhairava is effective. It is not a separate form of Bhairava like say Ruru Bhairava or Kapala Bhairava, are all separate emanations of Bhairava. 64 Bhairavas, there are separate emanations, they are separate. However, Kalabhairava, Batuka Bhairava and Kalabhairava are not separate, they are same. Before tapasya, after tapasya. Sitting down in Kashi, that's, Batuka is also there in Kashi, but the Adhinata is Kalabhairava. Adhinata is Kalabhairava, and that is because he gets the eligibility through the tapasya that he does by learning. The young deity is given knowledge of the entire universe and Devaloka, Mrityuloka, everything, because he goes around begging on that bowl. It is not that he was taking a punishment, he was being trained under the Adesh of Mahadeva. So the most Vairagi Guru Tattva of Mahadeva is always going to be Batuka and Kalabhairava, they are one and the same. Elder brother, Batuka Bhairava, understand that this is where you go first. Do not get, if you feel the urge to directly go to this deity, understand that you will not, most likely you will not progress, because the energy is so high that you might not be able to contain it. It is so high. You people might be just literally talking all crap about you, will not even give a damn. That level of Vairagi he is. Because you know that in 30 days they will get destroyed. You will not react. You will be non-reactive. So directly don't run here, especially young men, young women who are still looking for a partner, have interest in marriage, want to have kids, chasing after promotions. Batuka. Go to him. Through him you go here while achieving everything. No need to sacrifice anything if you go here. That is why they say, why do Grihasthas pray to Batuka? 99% of them don't know why. Why is because he was before the tapasya. And he will take you through the tapasya while also keeping everything intact. All compartments filled. Just like that, slowly he'll take you here to Kalabhairava. After that, you're no more waiting. You will be able to get into the Shakti path. So I believe this is the actual understanding of what Batuka is and what Batuka and Kalabhairava, what is the relationship. They are one and the same. Understand this. Young men who are getting into Batuka Bhairava sadhana, also ensure that you invoke Ma Durga, recite her ashtakams, recite her names. You don't have to get into full-fledged sadhana, but add her ashtakams, strotas in your daily Nitya Upasana. If you are in the full-fledged sadhana of Batuka Bhairava, add Ma Durga. Why? Batuka is a young Bhairava. He is full of prana. Okay, unlike Kalabhairava, who has now sat down and the entire energy is contained and he sat down. There is no stray energy that is running out of him. He's contained everything, he sat down in Kashi. However, Batuka was a moving Bhairava. One of the meanings of his terms, as one of my mentors, I don't call anybody my guru. However, one of my mentors, he told me that Batuka also means restless. Batuka also means moving Bhairava. Moving Bhairava. Think of that for a second, which means that you will find that all these urges, if you want to run after a promotion, you want to run after a partner, for men looking at women, for women looking at men, the urge might become too much. How do you contain it? You need to bring the Ma Swarupa, that is Durga Mata. Durga Mata has the complete Ma embodiment. So that is why, if you are doing Batuka Bhairava sadhana and you are a young man or woman, ensure that you also recite the names of Durga Mata. You also recite the ashtakams and strotas of Durga Mata. It will give you grounding. How, if you are a young man and you are having all these raging hormones at 21, 22, generally, young men are like that. But if you are in the presence of your mother, and even if 10 people of your opposite gender pass, do you feel the urge? You will be under control, right? You will not even want to look at them. You will be very calm. That sense of calmness for your unbridled energy, Ma Durga will give you in the Batuka sadhana. Which is why in Batuka sadhana, ensure that you add Ma Durga. Otherwise, be very, very sure that as you progress higher and higher in Batuka sadhana, your prana will be so high that all your urges also will be bursting through like the Batuka Bhairava was. Batuka means restless. Batuka means full of prana, young, bursting with vitality. Even if you are a 50-year-old man and you are starting Batuka Bhairava sadhana, expect vitality. Beyond your age, you might act, you might behave like a college student because you're full of prana. So you must add the mother energy before moving to Mahakali or any of the Smashana Devatas or Ugra deities. Durga Mata as the mother. You invoke her. She will give grounding to energy so that you can control the Batuka energy. And you can give it direction so that it doesn't go everywhere. These are all, there are so many emails I receive, I don't have the ability to reply to them. Please understand that I will put videos so that I will be able to respond to all the emails that I get. So, who is Batuka? Batuka is a young Bhairava. What is the meaning of Batuka? Not just child, it is also restless or moving Bhairava. Moving form of Bhairava is Batuka Bhairava. He does the tapasya and he sits down in Kashi. That is Kalabhairava. Same, one and the same. Before tapasya, after tapasya. Men and women who have not yet settled in their life, but go to Batuka. But ground yourself with Durga Mata sadhana. Add in your Nitya Upasana. Her names, strotas, ashtakams. Generally sing her glory. Keep her with you. You will find that all the energy Batuka gives you by 6 months or 1 year, you will be able to contain it. And it will not go haywire and put you in trouble. Listen carefully. This is very important. Batuka will give you unbridled prana. How do I know all this? I know it because I've gone through it. Please understand. You are all watching YouTube and you have all started doing mantras. It is actually, if you're starting and you're doing well, it is Batuka, but you will find the energy bursting out. Don't fall. Don't get into trouble. Bring Ma Durga. Listen to Sri Krishna. All this will give you grounding. Because Batuka is moving Bhairava. He is not stable Bhairava. He is moving Bhairava. It is a Kalabhairava. Once you reach that state, you are extremely calm, non-reactive. Vairagi to the extent. 1,000 people might be making fun of you in comments. Nothing will affect. Because you know they will get destroyed. Kalabhairava doesn't get and react. Because he reacts, gone. He might cut off. To make it easier to understand, let me tell you, if it was not Batuka, the moving young Bhairava that was coming out, and it was directly the Bhairava that sat down in Kashi, who was about to get into to go and give a lesson to Brahma. Let me tell you, he might not have given number one, but if Brahma had kept on doing this, he might have taken off all the heads. That is Kalabhairava, non-reactive. But if he reacts, it will be way more powerful. So before you don't rush into Kalabhairava, don't think that it is some sweet nectar that you should directly drink that first. This is the nectar. Batuka Bhairava is a nectar. It is a moving form of Bhairava. Go through the rituals, be boring. It's fine. Because once you reach here, fully experimental it is. He will take you out of your regular life. He will teach you everything, while the regular life also keeps on chasing after you because you did this part. Don't let go of this part. Durga Mata, very important. Shri Krishna, very important. Prana will be too high in Batuka Bhairava. Prana is unbridled. It cannot be controlled. So it will burst. Keep on bursting. Control it. Mantras taken off the internet for Batuka Bhairava, all mantras will work. Understand this. All mantras will work because that is his Adesh from Mahadeva. Just get out and destroy that creator god, set things in order. So, the one who's about to destroy the creator god's head itself, you think that his mantras all need procedure? Procedural collapse. The procedures have collapsed. That is Batuka. I believe that is my inputs on Batuka Bhairava sadhana. Understand he is the same as Kalabhairava, before tapasya, after tapasya. Your life also, you are just entering in your 20s, or if you are a 40-year-old man who's just entering into that phase, don't rush. Calm down. Go through Batuka. That you need to bring that prana into you, that vibrant energy bursting through, and then only you move to Kalabhairava. Without bringing the vibrant energy, without bringing the moving Bhairava, you directly want to enter into the Bhairava that has sat down and has all the powers of Mahakala. You think without the energy, how will you sit down? You're empty. Bring Batuka. He will give the prana. Ensure Ma Durga is very close, because the mother keeps the energy stable, even though it is not that easy to stabilize Batuka energy, it is too high. So most of my mentors, they are not around anymore. They do not even, probably they are not even heard of things like YouTube and all. I wish they were around and they could also come on YouTube and all, because that level of knowledge is not there. Nobody is talking about to that extent. They have visualized, they have all direct projections of Bhairava, they have got direct messages from Bhairava. It is all unbelievable. But they are not around anymore. Their times have passed. So that's it. Batuka Bhairava, any mantra you take is fine. Batuka Bhairava breaks the procedures. He is a moving Bhairava, he is a young Bhairava. He will come like this, if you call. That is his Adesh from Mahadeva. If you are sincere and clean, he will come. If you are not sincere and clean, don't even come to Bhairava sadhana. It will not happen. All this sitting in a Facebook talking about people, sitting and putting posts about people, insulting others, no chance. They are all mere, they are the Maya within Bhairava sadhana. You will not be able to talk about people and all. You have to become very pious and clean. Only then you can place that energy, because it is too high, it is too powerful. If you're somebody who's constantly gossiping and talking crap about people, he will not come, because that much of power with such a, when your mind is not strong, you will not be able to hold it, number one. And if at all you are given that kind of power, you will cause harm to people. So become pious. Batuka Bhairava is the way to go. Even if you do it for 10 years, please understand it is Kalabhairava only before tapasya. So the rules are slightly conducive to materialistic life. However, do not invoke Batuka Bhairava and ask for things that you would probably ask to a deity who is dressed in Alangaram. Batuka is not like that. Batuka is still Kalabhairava, he is Vairagi Guru Tattva, however, still understanding, still like an elder brother, whereas when he goes and attains the title of Kalabhairava, he becomes completely rock solid. So, you will find your materialistic goals are better fulfilled by Batuka, because that's his Adesh. The creator god has lost his mind. You go, set everything in order, help all these people, run. That is why he is a moving Bhairava. That is why Batuka is most effective, when you have materialistic goals at hand. If you want to go to Kalabhairava, you will find that materialistic goals become so small. Batuka will ensure that, but it will all come. It will keep on running. You will be like, I never took effort for all this, but it keeps on coming. This dialogue will, this will be on your lips. Don't rush into Kalabhairava. Put lots of time into Batuka Bhairava. He is the one with the entire power of Kalabhairava, but he is understanding. He is a little cool towards his sadhakas. He will forgive a little. He is also a little emotional. So be strict in his sadhana. Talk to him. I will not be able to describe some of the things. People say that because nowadays these weak sadhakas are all very, very prominent, and they will say that that guy is saying all this, that is all not intuition, he is simply saying all this. So I don't want to get into that thing, but Batuka's experience will be like so much that you will just hold your head and sit down. How is it possible that he gave me such a amazing experience? How did if I tell people, they will not believe it. It will be like that. That is how reactive Batuka is, because he is moving Bhairava before he went into the tapasya. Once the kapala comes into his hand, he has entered tapasya. After that, you cannot beckon him. The period that Bhairava goes through, from the young Bhairava that emanates, the new Bhairava, that removes Brahma's head, till the Kalabhairava, this mid phase is there, no? That is the most powerful Bhairava. That is the most dangerous form of Bhairava. The entire other forms of Bhairava is within this phase. Anyway, these are all not things that are written down. There are very deep sadhakas who many of them are not still around, who have spoken about this in very small circles. They have spoken about all this. They are not on social media also. Batuka to Kalabhairava is the entire universe of Bhairava. Emanates, starts the new Bhairava till he sat down. The entire universe of Bhairava is between these two. Think why you need to go to Batuka. The answer is there. Add Durga Mata, listen to the message of Sri Krishna. Don't let that prana go wonky, get into some trouble. Don't do that. Durga Mata, mother energy is very important in Batuka, because young, bursting, restless. Be careful. So I believe that's it. Any mantras of Batuka will function. Even if without a guru, you will absolutely do well. Don't worry about all that. I think I'm done for today. Bhairava Kalike Namostute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Om Kalike Chutme.